Going into the Boca High game, the River Boys were coming off a devastating loss to Doral Academy. The tension was high because they were coming into the game against their biggest rivals, and this game would decide the district. The winner of this game got home field advantage in the playoffs, and the loser might not even make it to the playoffs.
Obviously, coming off the loss, our team morale was low, but we had to put the loss in the past and just focus on the more important game at the time, was going to be Boca, because that would help us in the playoffs and obviously as a district championship.
You know, the pressure before the game was really intense. Everybody was on their heels, on their toes. We were ready to get after it because the stakes were really important for this game. Had playoff implications. You know, Boca High, we have some bad blood in between the two schools ever since the beginning of the year. We've been just bantering back and forth. And, you know, this game was really important because it determined who had home field advantage in playoffs and even if the team made it at all.
Coming into that week, we were hitting more. We were spending a lot more time on film, weightlifting in the weight room. The day of the game, everybody was so locked in. We even got like an hour walkthrough before the game. That's what I wanted to win that game. And then going into the game, we went up first. I scored the first touchdown, and then we finished out the second quarter. Well, right before the second quarter, it was a kickoff. One of the kids said something about my mom, and I hit him, but it wasn't a hard hit. Like, he had a helmet on, but like I hit him, and then like they suspended me for the rest of the game. So now I'm watching from the stands, just watching my team ball. We ended up losing, but I started picking my boys. Come back in the locker room, they tell me I can't play for the next 2 games.
Losing never feels good, especially to a rival like that. Throughout the game, I mean, we just stuck together as a team, told ourselves to just keep going, just keep fighting each and every rep, each and every play. Despite the heartbreaking loss to Boca, once again, we had to look at what's right in front of us, which was Olympic. So as much as it hurt and pained us to lose to Boca, we had to put it in the past and focus on our next opponents.
Clearly we lost, and you know that wasn't good. Everybody was pretty down. It was emotional in the locker room. Coaches screaming, yelling, players screaming and yelling. You know, we didn't know how the rest of the season would move going forward, especially since playoffs hopes were like out the way. But we just had to keep moving because, you know, you never know if he would make it back to the playoffs or not in that position.
After a hard-fought battle and a lot of mistakes, Spanish River lost the game and the district championship. This dropped their very promising 4-3 record to a very low 4-4. Team morale was low. However, the team gets redemption next week as they travel to crosstown rival Olympic Heights. Olympic Heights is on a streak of losing over 15 games in a row. It was sure to be a confidence booster for Spanish River. At that point, Olympic had been shut out more times than they had scored.
The next week, it was a pretty short week. The game was on a Thursday, on Halloween. They were playing Olympic Heights, pretty historically bad team in the area. And we just came in there trying to, you know, come off the back end of a bad loss for a bad team. You know, we came in, it was like 40-0 first quarter. Took out backups, kept scoring, but ended up 90-0, pretty easily win.
Spanish River won 90-0. In 1 week span, they had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows that you can have in a regular season. Because of a hurricane earlier in the season, the Sharks had a short turnaround to play Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on the coming Wednesday. This game was very important to the Sharks because they had already basically guaranteed playoff spot afterwards. This is because prior to the MSD game, the game against Doral was actually overturned. Doral used ineligible players.
So next up, we had MSD. Coming off the Olympic game, we're all hyped. You know, it was fun, exciting. But then coaches reminded us that, hey, we still have the whole season ahead of us, and we just have to keep playing hard and fighting each and every rep.
This brought their record to a total of 6-3 heading into the Douglas game. What a turnaround. The team basically got an extra life from the football gods. Spanish River won the game against Douglas 48-0. After their extremely disappointing loss to Boca, the game that made their record 4-4, they came back and showed the world the dominant team that they are and won the next 2 games by 138 points combined and gave up 0. Now they're set to play the powerhouse Christopher Columbus High in the playoffs as an 8 seed.
I watched film with them boys. They seem really locked in, like we're ready for playoffs.